The Republic of Ding Dong Bing Gong King Gong Shinia presents written accounts absolutely fabulous. Yes, because this sounds like a novel people are to be taken seriously. By On Shanae, otherwise known as Stetson Hardwick. Dedicated to all the people who have suffered from gauge, terrible jokes, hate speech, and homophobia. I love how you immediately use my legal name again, because you're that retarded. Introduction. Gage hates the LGBT plus community, and everyone knows this. No, you just keep telling yourself that I do, so you just keep feeding yourself that stupid bullshit over and over again. He has no friends. I have friends. Lies about having friends. Prove me wrong. In truth, he is quite lonely and resorts to bullying in order to release the motivations to hate the LGBT community. No. If someone is lonely and doesn't have friends, more often than not, they don't go around attacking people because of orientation. They usually just isolate themselves. Shows how much you actually know about human behavior. Which is why Gage mocked the LGBT community. He can't even say LGBTP right, which is in part of his mental retardation. No, it's just the fact that I don't call it P plus because P is what people like you use to refer to people as pedophiles or pedosexuals, which are disgusting in their own right. The P plus kind of seems like it's demeaning people who are actually going through identity issues because of their orientation, because of how they identify. That's why I don't use it, because it sounds demeaning to those people. It is equally as important as Gage is. I never said that gay people were any less important than anyone else. I've never once said that. Instead, Gage thinks all members of the LGBT community are internet retards. Again, when someone calls you a dipshit for making a fool of yourself, they're only referring to you. Why do you feel the need to constantly say that you represent other people if you only speak for yourself? I don't speak for anyone else except me. And why can't you acknowledge that on your own behalf as well? Which we all know that the only internet retard is Gage, last name here, for hanging out in the meeting community, aka one who isn't a straight white conservative male. I don't care if you're a straight white conservative or male. Those things are completely fucking irrelevant to me. They've been irrelevant since day one. You're just so goddamn stupid that you scream about everything because you're too damn dumb to accept the fact that not everything in the world is as simple as that. That's the problem. I mean, you show the world that you view it as like left or right, red or blue, black or white, gay or straight. You don't view everyone as a person with a different point of view. You view everyone like they have to fucking hate each other because they're different. I find it funny that people like you go around calling people racist and homophobes, but the reality is you're the racist and the homophobe because you talk like you think for every gay person. You assume that every gay person seems to have the same mentality that you do, despite the fact that you yourself aren't even aware of what you are or how you really identify, because it's like your identity changes every day, like you have schizophrenia. Which is a shame because it's people like Gage who action leads to riots in the streets. Bigotry is wrong on every level, yet Gage has no problem with demoralizing you because of your non-heterosexual sexuality. Again, I've never once said that someone being gay, bisexual, or transgender, or asexual or pansexual was inherently bad. You're the one saying that, not anyone else. He supports the separation of families and the ICE agents abusing immigrants. I never once said that at all. In any way, in all, Gage hates everyone who is not American or conservative. Because you say so. He is terrible at hiding it and will always make excuses to hate and abuse you. Which is why the only person saying this is you. He will never respect you because he never respects himself. He thinks that writers and artists are crap. No, I think that people that write terrible books or people that can't really paint, pretending to be painters, are shitty artists and shitty writers. You can't have someone paint a yellow trapezoid on a piece of paper and call it a masterpiece. Just like you can't have someone type out this turd and call it a novel. It's insulting to the intelligence of everyone but the stupid fuck who made it. What does that say about his character? Well, it says that I have at least enough taste to say, yeah, this is awful. Gage has no plan for his life other than to waste time making stupid YouTube videos. Why is YouTube spaced out instead of being a compound word for unintelligent conservatives who hate Black Lives Matter but love white supremacists? I love how you say that other people love white supremacists when you yourself cite no real evidence for this claim except your own fucking words. I mean, this kind of shit right here would be enough to get you sued, realistically speaking. HR, okay, human resources, also hates women who shows too much skin. I don't care if someone's wearing a bikini or not, just so long as they actually look good in it. He believes that twerking is for sluts and whores, and not wearing two-piece swimsuit is indeed skanky. I don't care if someone wears fucking two pieces or not. It's really not my fucking. I don't care. As long as you're not 600 pounds, I don't care. Ah, for fuck's sake, you are so goddamn dumb. He thinks that wearing tight clothes is disgusting and that the murder of George Floyd by three white police officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota was justified. I never once said it was justified. I think it's pretty fucked up what happened to him. I think that there were probably better ways they could have handled the situation other than choking the poor kid to death. Now, granted, he wasn't a model citizen, but I don't agree. I don't think he deserved to die like that. And again, the only time it's disgusting for someone to wear tight clothing is if it's like someone like you who eats too much or starts starving themselves to lose weight. Or it's someone who's just like wearing clothes so tight you can see the outline of their dick or whatever. When the reality is like nobody needs to see that except for the privacy of your own bedroom. Conservatives are the earthquake of society. They shake and divide us in all the wrong ways. We are never safe with people like Gage walking the streets. Why? Because I disagree with your stupid fucking bullshit mentality. I love how he like all of a sudden it jumps right into back into like 32 font. Gage thinks we are all wild animals who were made for hunting. No, I think pedophiles deserve to be destroyed, but that's not the same thing as attacking every person that happens to be separate from heterosexuality. And honestly, pedophilia is not an orientation either, so it doesn't count there either. Gage is his secret society is clearly promoting anarchy in our global society. Crazed lunatic conservative YouTuber, active member of the GC2 cult, typed in a comment of one of Gage's GC2 cult promoting videos. All hail the mighty GC2. Can you imagine being so fucking stupid that someone decides to take what you said and take the piss out of it and make it a joke? And you're so crazy you immediately think it's true when someone just did it to make fun of you for how stupid you sound. Jennifer Ornella, conservative YouTuber, active member of the GC2, stated, "This is perfect," regarding the recruitment video for the GC2 on Gage, the Doom Guy YouTube channel. Have you ever thought that it was just made to be a gag since it was on April Fool's Day, you stupid fuck? Seriously, this was last year on April Fool's Day, and you thought this was a fucking real thing. You're out of your fucking gourd. I personally don't understand how any human being could be as hateful as Gage, or how anyone would want to hang out with him. Well, maybe it's because you're a fucking pussy who thinks that every time someone says something mean about you, they must be less than human, and then you immediately cry about it for 6 days. He interacts with other humans who support his hatred for humanity better than those who respect and love them. Just because you're a sick fuck who wants to fuck kids doesn't mean that everyone else is obligated to like you or respect you. In fact, the public at large will usually tell you that you're a sick fuck. His personal persona of "I am better than you" and it shows, and you should know it by now, have pushed the multitude of people away. Gage never admits when he is wrong. He goes around insulting innocent people when he himself is the guilty one. He has received plenty of negative backlash from many people, yet he never addresses it. I'm not gonna address a bunch of bullshit false allegations from a bunch of faceless names on fucking computers who have no real intention of being honest with their cause. Gage is a perfect example of how not to live your life. Why? Because I'm a responsible adult that has his own job, pays his own bills, and not acts like a retard. Gage is a bad role model for the human race. And you're a good one? He promotes slander and hate speech. Don't you promote slander by inherently calling someone a white supremacist whenever people don't give you your way, you fucking dumbass? Nobody should suffer him. Yet we had to. By we, you mean you and pedophiles that happen to associate with you. We endured 2.5 years of pure hell dealing with Gage and his cult. We were abused, harassed, stalked, persecuted, etc. And only because we were liberals from another country. I don't care if you're from another country or a liberal. It's a matter of how you choose to conduct yourself. If you simply disagree with someone, that's one thing. But if you go above and beyond to make an ass of yourself, to lodge yourself into people's fucking to basically staple yourself to someone's fucking optics and follow them around like a dumbass for a while, people are going to tend to develop some hostility towards that. Which Gage continues to believe that countries don't exist. No, I believe that countries exist, just not the one you keep claiming to be from, because you can never point to it on a map, you can never supply a flag or a nation at the time when the nation was originally established, you can't supply anything. I guess that means that Gage is officially stateless. No, I believe that things like Asia, the United States, South America, Canada, Mexico, I believe all these places exist. I just don't believe that your country exists because you can never point to it. Sadly, Gage has no idea how international politics works, which does not surprise anyone, because he has no form of education to begin with. Hence the fact that he spews. Let's see, where did I lose track? Spews more nonsense from his conservative lips than truth. He does not understand how investigations work, and he knows nothing about international business. Well, I do know that when an investigation works, you have to have some sort of actual authority on the nation's soil working with you in tandem to get an investigation. You do not legally have right to extract data or information from another country without the proper authorities giving you clearance to do so, you fucking retard. That's why usually when international task force are established, they work in tandem with the country they're investigating in. Which is interesting because I know these things and more. Sadly, it takes a book like this to expose Gage and his fraud when normal people can just admit their mistakes on their own. It's not a mistake to scrutinize the beliefs of a crazy motherfucker who obviously intends to not do jack shit for anyone except whine and screech and bitch and read. The reason that this book is not to promote my hatred for Gage. On the contrary, I actually love Gage, and I want what's best for him. I want what's best for you. That's why I leak your legal name and call you a white supremacist and lie about shit that you say and lie about shit that you've done to other people so I can try to get people to fucking harass you. I care about you so much that I want to basically surround you by a bunch of people who will lynch you for no reason. But remember, I care about you so much. That's like the father that cares so much about his child that he beats the shit out of them every day. The problem is, however, he doesn't want what's best for himself. He does not want to be a human being. He wants to continue to act like a savage. Fueling his need to start drama with other people, the relationship between Gage and myself has been rocky at best. Dude, it's not a relationship. I know you online as an acquaintance, and it's an acquaintanceship that I'd rather not have ever started because you're a pain in the ass. Which is his own doing, not mine. Yeah, when you follow people around, stalk them, harass their family, say that it's okay that members of their family fucking died. Yeah, normal shit that you do to someone you don't like. Except no one else does this except you. Gage is the one who made slanderous videos about me, telling people that I supported harming human beings, which you fucking do. You support pedophilia and child molestation, but you're going to keep denying that even though if you write it in a book, which is clearly a lie because in every one of my books and podcasts, I continue to say we need to learn to get along with each other and to leave people alone. By leave people alone, you mean leave you alone because you want everyone to stop mocking you for being a fucking psychopath. I support Black Lives Matter, but I never condone their behavior, violence if any. I support the LGBT community, but I don't support taking actions into your own hands on a violent level. Clearly Gage doesn't know me at all, which leads to the question, what else doesn't Gage know? Is that your only argument, fuckface? You keep saying that someone doesn't know, and because you assume they don't know, that just somehow diminishes their intelligence? Fuck yourself. Well, it's the end of chapter 1. My mistake, that was the introduction, so I guess this is technically chapter 1. Let's resume reading. The many things that Gage knows nothing about. I love how it's not even going to be a bulleted list. It's basically going to be a bunch of bitchathon paragraphs that are going to most likely boil down to nothing. In trying to create a full understanding of Gage ignorance, Gage is, with apostrophe S, scumfuck. The question always pops up, what does Gage not know about? Now the list of things that he does not know about is vast and long, but we will focus only on the thing that kind of covers the rest of the hundreds of things that is missing in Gage Knowledge Bank. You mean that is missing from Gage's Knowledge Bank? Why do you need to keep including my last name, you stupid fuckhead? That thing is humanity and community. You see, Gage believes in the neo-Nazism agenda. No, I don't. I don't believe in an ethno-state or anything like that. I think that people of different races being in this country is actually a good thing because it increases genetic diversity, allows people to have healthy, strong children. The neo-Nazism definition is neo-Nazism consists of post-World War II militant social and political movements seeking to revive and implement the idea of Nazism. Neo-Nazis seek to employ their ideology to promote hatred and attack minorities, or in some cases, to create fascist state. This fits Gage lifestyle perfectly. No, it doesn't. I don't attack people of different ethnicities only because they have different ethnicities. A person's ethnicity is irrelevant. It's what they do and how they choose to go about espousing what they say that makes me be critical of them or not. Like this, for example, where you straight up say, well, someone of this race that disagrees with this race must be a racist because they disagree with this race. Are you sure it's not because the person's beliefs are retarded and ass backward? Like, why don't you look at what people are actually espousing instead of the race of the people doing it? I mean, you sound like a giant fucking racist. It also explains his hostilities against people who are not white. There are plenty of white people that I dislike too, dumb fuck. Gage does not believe in community. I believe in community. I also believe that there are certain people in the community that need to be criticized and held accountable for doing stupid shit, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation or how they identify. But you won't listen to any shit like this, because if you do, you realize that it's gonna fuck your worldview. Community is his enemy because most communities are not all white. I don't care if everyone's all white or not. It's irrelevant to me. It explains why gay Jeremy and gay this is why gay hate Amos gay, and in turn he hatred against anyone who tries to access Amos gay logic scientifically. You mean assess it, not access it. And Amos doesn't really have any science on his side. He's essentially going by simple consent and things like that to imply that children and babies can consent to sexual relationships. That is not the same thing as having psychologists and pediatric psychologists and doctors all agreeing with you. He is not a doctor, he is not a scientist, he is not an independent researcher. He's essentially some dumbass from Singapore who mouthed off and got himself thrown into the US seeking political asylum because he could have started race riots in Singapore, and now he's currently on bail for $1 million for sending dick pics to a minor. So here we go. Amos didn't do anything wrong to begin with. Well, he did almost instigate race riots in his home country before he fled because the government was probably going to be fucking him over. If Gage doesn't agree with Amos, then fine, that's not a problem. Yes, it is a problem because you seem to think that people being critical of someone's points of view immediately make them less than human, especially if that person is someone whose dick you're following around. The problem came when Gage relentlessly spewed hateful racial slurs against him, and then had his followers false flag Amos videos, meaning that Gage censored Amos gay because he was Asian and a minority. I never had anyone flag any of Amos's videos because I was not involved in the sue yourself thing at all. I was not fucking involved about that at all. Ever. And the fact that you continue to bring me up in that situation, which I did not even know was fucking occurring, shows me that you're so goddamn delusional that you'll knowingly try to attach someone to a situation they had nothing to do with, just to make yourself feel like you have some sort of motive to go after someone. Gage doesn't have different opinions. Yes, I do. I have different opinions. Difference in opinions still results in peaceful outcome, like how Hillary Clinton handles the indifference between herself and Trump. You mean the differences. What Gage is doing is blatant acts of hated against indifference. You mean hatred against people who are different, or hatred against difference. Like how Donald Trump treats Mexicans horribly, just like Donald Trump Gage lies about all his illegitimate actions with people. He lied about his relationship with Kate. He lied about me being a bad person who hurts people, and he lied about his involvement with the DC too. Gage does not know how to tell the truth and can't be trusted. Just because you don't like me doesn't mean that I'm not in a relationship. The fact that this person has openly spoke to you a couple times telling you to shut the fuck up and go away ought to be enough indication they don't want you to mention you either. Again, keep in mind you're putting all this bullshit behind a paywall so that people will pay you sometimes $30 to $45 for this worthless garbage, just so people can essentially be spoon-fed shit you want them to fucking hear. That's why you decided to make these little books as responses to me. That's why they were made as responses to me, and you put them behind a fucking paywall. Because I wanted to make sure that your detractors wouldn't give you money and see the shit that you're saying about them and then rebuttal it. That's really what it is. If you're so confident in your ability to debate, if you're so confident in your ability to argue, why do you need to hide what you say about people behind a paywall? I mean, that sounds like some very facetious shit. Gage doesn't know how to shut up. Neither do you, fuckface. Not to be rude or anything. Oh, fuck you. But there is only so much lying, hatred, and deception a person can take from the conservative like Gage, Damien, and even Kate. Kate didn't lie to you once. I can understand Gage and Damien being this way because of their upbringing and brainwashing. But how does Kate even play into this? Clearly, Gage lied to Kate, making her believe that I, or anyone for that matter, is bad. You mean am bad, or are bad. Which is stupid, because Kate doesn't even knows me. Knows, Knows, instead of just know me. So if Kate never met me and doesn't know me, that clearly she does not know the real me. What is there really to know? People have seen you act like a giant fucking moron, constantly telling people they're pieces of shit for questioning you. She knows me through the lies that Gage brainwashed her mind with, but she does not know the real me. It's about time that Kate stopped following Gage, stand up for herself, and be the independent woman she was destined to be. A woman of intelligence and power, a woman of success and wisdom. But none of those things can ever become while she hangs around with Gage. The only thing Gage can give her is an STD. Actually, dude, I'm clean as a whistle. I'm clean as a whistle. And here's the thing, you have no right to say that anyone else is somehow going to become lesser or more of a person just because they disassociate with someone that they know in their life, or in this case, someone they're in a long-term relationship with. To me, it just sounds like you want someone to leave the person you don't like because you want the person to be hurt emotionally so that you can sit there and beat off feverishly to the fact that you think you fucked someone's life up to some extent or another. That's exactly what dumb fucks like you do. You parasitically circle around someone waiting for something bad to happen with their life just so you can fucking sit there and say, well, nah, I caused this. And then other people are just going to look at you and say, dude, fuck off, go away. I feel sorry for Kate. I'm glad you can't spell her last name properly. Honestly, Gage is just extra baggage in her life. He's slowing down her progress in life and is corrupting her future by exposing her to the poisons of hatred, bigotry, and the abominations of evil against humanity. Yeah, because calling you a stupid fuck is the same thing as committing mass genocide. I don't believe that Kate is as evil as Gage makes her out to be. I don't make anyone out to be evil. If someone straight up says that they think you're an asshole and they don't want to be fucking around you, that's their own words. Then I'm just saying exactly what they said verbatim. What's interesting is that Gage pushes Kate around and is hostile towards her. She can't even choose her own path because Gage controls her entire life like he tries to do with everyone else. Which is why you supply no fucking evidence. I mean, that's pretty serious shit, dude. You don't just accuse people of that shit with no fucking evidence. Kate and her acquaintance on that. I understand that in the conservative beliefs, man run the relationship, but clearly the flaws in Gage beliefs and in Kate exist are not in Kate's existence. Here's the thing, I don't believe that anyone runs a relationship. I believe a relationship is a partnership that's split 50-50 down the middle. Both of you sit down and have discussions about your decisions before either one of you makes a big one, because otherwise bad shit can happen. Unless, of course, the decision is for the betterment of your own health, in which case the other person will most likely understand. Gage can't even say her last name on his YouTube video. Gage always claimed that I don't care what you or anyone thinks. Yeah, he cares enough about what other people when it comes to using Kate's last name. Have you ever thought that the reason I don't want people to use legal names is because I don't want some stupid fuckface harassing people I care about because they're obsessed with constantly shitting out content for the sole purpose of pointing at the other person? I mean, that's really all you do, fuckhead. So Gage lied about that as well. When will his lying spree end? Kate deserves so much better than an abusive, selfish, racist, greasy-faced conservative who can't even treat women with respect that they deserve. I guess hatred runs in Gage's family because Kyle, Gage's brother, shows as much hatred in the internet and elsewhere as Gage does. I don't know how Kate puts up with all of Gage's drama. She really should put her intelligence to better use. Then instead of then, put up with Gage crap. What Gage is doing to Kate and his victims is defined as psychological and emotional abuse. Because you keep saying that someone's abused. That's the thing. You keep saying someone's abused, but you don't supply actual proof. You keep saying, everyone is hurting this person. And then it turns out even this person's told you you're full of shit on their own behalf before. And you continue to do this shit. And then you wonder why everyone and their mother goes, who the fuck cares what you think? So Gage knows nothing about community or humanity. He abuses the community as a whole, everyone who is not like him. Right. And in turn, he's abusing humanity. My heart goes out to all the victims of Gage and the GC2 call. I pray for Kate that God will free Kate from the grip of the devil's workers, aka Gage and the GC2. Let us all keep the victims in prayer. You don't believe in God or anything. Support the cause for a peaceful and better tomorrow. Right. Because, when you relentlessly accuse someone of being a domestic abuser with no fucking evidence, and you do it only because you're too stupid to listen to anyone else that knows what the fuck they're talking about, I'm sure that just does wonders for your cause. When you go around and start accusing people of shit with no actual evidence that you can actually bring to the table. I mean, you listen to some fat, brain-dead, muscular dystrophy-having animal abuser who once tried to scam people out for $10K pretending to have cancer. And yet, for some fucking reason, you're willing to sit there and ignore the actions of this person because they happen to suck your chode and tell you that what you're saying is right, even if what you're saying is actually completely false. Now, here's the thing. My relationship with Kate has never been perfect. No relationship really is. You guys are going to have arguments, you're going to have issues, you guys are going to have problems where you might go to bed a little bit annoyed, then you'll wake up and everything will be fine the next day once you have time to talk about it. But the fact is, relationships are not perfect. None of them are. To be so fucking stupid and blind that you think that everyone disagreeing with someone is inherently the same thing as someone being psychologically or emotionally abused just proves to everyone involved that you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And you're trying way too hard to fuck with someone on an emotional level, to fuck with their personal life, because you know that you can't argue otherwise. That's really what that comes off as. It comes off as a sad attempt to argue. And it doesn't work. Because what happens is, when people like you pull this kind of shit, it usually ends up blowing up in their fucking face when they realize that all they've managed to do is build a reputation for themselves of being a liar and a fucking slanderer. And the reason that people think you're a liar and a slanderer is because when people talk to the both of us about shit that you've said, and people have done this before at least a couple times, they've been able to analyze everything everything that's been said, everything that's been done. They go through everything, and it's like, yeah, it turns out these people have never done this. Turns out none of these things these people have done is actually a crime or is actually endangering anyone's real life. And then people like that usually just say, well, if it's not really dangerous, we have no jurisdiction to be here. There's no reason for us to look into this any further because there's nothing really to look into. And usually people just walk the other way and apologize for the inconvenience, and then they go on their way. To me, it just seems like you're trying way too hard to keep saying someone's abusing someone because you want people to be bothering them. You want people to harass them. The same reason you try to leak people's last names and leak people's hometowns and shit. It's because you want people to fucking bother them. That's really all it is. Alright, let's begin with Chapter 2 of this fucking brain disease. Chapter 2, the Gage last name protest. Doing our research on Gage last name, aka Gage the Doom Guy, we discovered that Gage loves calling the written word brain cancer, aka I, Gage, insert last name. Don't know how to understand what I read, and you, person in question, are putting me, Gage, on the spot. No, I mean that if someone writes something incredibly fucking shitty to the point to where their text makes no fucking sense with their punctuation and spelling, and it comes off like a wall of text that does not make any sense at all because it's written incoherently, and because the plot jumps all over the fucking place because you don't know how to format a story properly. That's what makes it difficult to read, and that's what makes it a fucking pain in the neck to read. When you make something that's blatantly brain dead, when you put no real thought into anything at all that you fucking do, when you try to produce a written work of nonfiction or fiction, this is a mix of both. It seems to me that you just don't understand how to fucking write. And instead of taking that on the chin and saying, you know what, maybe I could try to learn how to write by reading something that doesn't involve Dr. Seuss, you instead decide to ignore any criticisms people give you and immediately call those criticisms conservative because you're a fucking moron. Which is not a surprise because every bias review that Gage last name did on his Days of Doom Guy YouTube channel about the Not Surface series never reflected its true context or text within. Yes, it does. When someone reads you straight up paraphrasing that you want people to only agree with what you say and nothing else, then people start to believe that you're kind of a fascist and kind of a wannabe dictator in and of itself. Because you essentially start establishing a narrative that you only want people to tell you what you'd like to hear instead of what's actually true. And I'm not your nanny. I'm not your mommy. It is not my job to pander to your brain-dead pedophile ass because mommy decided to leave you somewhere. Get over it. This can happen with people who have learning disabilities like that Gage last name has. Gage also has a learning disorder, and attention deficit hyperactive disorder. I don't have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD. I love how you're immediately trying to make diagnosis about people's mental health and whether or not they have a mental disorder because you're so goddamn stupid that when people say they have Asperger's syndrome, you immediately try to equate that to ADHD. I can't imagine being so stupid that when people say they have a different type of disorder, you immediately make it something entirely different, and then you need to keep yammering on like you're a psychologist when you are the furthest thing from one, considering the fact that you're a legitimate schizophrenic. Quote, learning disorder or learning difficulty is a condition that the brain causes difficulties comprehending and processing information and can be caused by several different factors. Given the difficulty of learning in the typical manner, this does not exclude the ability to learn in a different manner. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, is a mental disorder of the... Wait for it to load. Come on now. Come on, computer, you can do this. Neurodevelopmental type. This is characterized by difficulty paying attention, excessive activity, and acting without regards to consequences which are otherwise not appropriate for a person. Some individuals with ADHD have also displayed difficulty regulating emotions or problems with executive function. Sure, Gage last name is a jerk, liar, and a slanderous fraud. Again, I'm not the one trying to sell people bullshit about other people from under false pretenses just so you can sit there and cry and screech and bitch and ree whenever people tell you that you're wrong because you don't prove shit that you say. I may be an asshole, but I'm not a liar and I'm not a fraud. And it's not slander if you openly admit to people saying shit that you've said yourself. But there is a medical issue with Gage. Not to say that every human being with ADHD or LD is a jerk or stupid enough to act like Gage. Fuck yourself, you cunt. But there's a medical research that supports his madness. It is not a lost hope to better understand the medical flaws behind the madman named Gage last name and in modern English, a cult is an asocial group that is defined by its unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, or by its common interest in a particular personality, object, or goal. So what you're saying is that because people have a general understanding that it's not okay to be a sick fuck child molester, you immediately equate that to people sacrificing animals, or like sacrificing blood, or committing ritual suicide. Can you imagine being so fucking stupid that you immediately try to typecast people disagreeing with you as a legitimate mental disorder because you're brain dead? Again, if medical research support what I think, then doesn't that stand to reason that what I'm saying is actually true? Some of the members of the GC cult other than Gage last name include but are not limited to Damien from New Zealand, Cornelius from Malaysia. Kyle. I don't get why the fuck my name is in parentheses besides Kyle's name from town in Michigan. Jennifer Ranilla from Oklahoma. Anthony Hunter. Hatman, Castle Fox, Zach the Celtics guy, Steve Trowbridge. So what you're saying then is that if people disagree with you because you're a spastic babbling fuck nugget, it means everyone else is just a liar. One of the members known as Jennifer Ranilla makes hateful, violent statements like, I wouldn't mind hog tying him and putting him feet first in a giant meat grinder and turning it on in the slowest capacity. Of course, by him, he means her. No, she. Jennifer's transgender. Her as I am a woman. This not only proves how violent and evil this cult is, but it also proves that misgendering is a common practice within these cult members. No, people just refuse to skirt around your fucking feelings because you're an asshole and people don't feel like fucking pandering to you, just so you can feel more secure about being a sorry sack of shit. They, of course, don't care about humanity, but they insist they do care. Well, here's the thing. If you cared about humanity, you wouldn't be constantly telling people that everyone needs to think the same way you tell them to think. No one believes them, of course, and they are held accountable for their sins against the people. Sins against the people from some stupid faggoty retard who does nothing but stalk and harass people. I find it funny that some stupid, screeching pedophile retard is going around telling people that everyone else is a piece of shit and a loser and a complete waste of space. Meanwhile, we have some screeching pedophile retard running around saying that everyone else is an asshole. Look in a fucking mirror. Daniel Romanos is a good person who experienced firsthand the abuse, harassment, stupidity of Gage's last name and his cult. Every video made about Daniel Romanos is fake news and false. No, it's fucking not. The dude straight up wrote fucking fanfics where he fucks children. And for some reason, people are not allowed to call that really fucked up and nasty. You stupid cocksmoker. The only reason why they bully and slander him is because of the way he talks and his nationality. Daniel Romanos was born in the U.S., you stupid dickhead. You fucking faggoty retard. He lives in Baltimore, Maryland. He was born there. And your stupid fucking retarded ass is acting like he was just someone that immigrated to the country and then was met with like a series of assholes berating him for no reason. I love how you don't pay attention to jack shit anyone fucking says about anything. Because the moment someone uploads anything about someone, you immediately try to bitch about it like you think you're being honest. You're a lying sack of waste. Fucking die. Daniel hasn't done anything wrong to anyone, except for the part where he openly exploits. He took a bunch. Yeah, in one of the debates with Daniel, I never debated Daniel Romanos. Daniel was forced under intimidation of the GC to admit things he never did. This is only part of a scam that GC2 has been running for years via Discord and YouTube. They take people's words and put a negative spin on them to make it seem like you are a bad person, when in fact you haven't done anything wrong. Daniel Romanos is a victim of multiple injustices of the GC2, which is being authorized by the ringleader of the GC2, Gage last name, was posted on Cornelius' YouTube channel. So what you're saying is that because... Are you sure you're not talking about Bo Daniels? Because I've never actually talked to fucking Romanos except in comments. Again, end yourself, you brain-dead motherfucker. Because it seems like you can't keep the continuity of the series of events lined up. Gage, insert last name. I don't get why... And the GC2 talking to Daniel Romanos almost a year ago via Discord, where they stalked his account nonstop and even released personal information about him online. During this time, our task force was investigating the attacks against Amos Yee by the GC2, and it just happened to come across communications between Daniel and Gage, where Gage was extorting information out of Daniel under the threat of exposure. Of course, they didn't get the information on Daniel. He was clean. So they made up fake news that Daniel abuses people for his own personal gain. Yeah, you know, when someone openly admits that they want to fuck children, it's people making that up if they say it themselves in multiple publications. No one was, yeah, because if someone simply criticizes someone and points out the fact that it sounds awfully fucked up for someone to say that they want to diddle teenage girls who are barely out of middle school, if not barely in middle school. Yeah, it's people lying about him when he types his own fucking comments in his own fucking YouTube comments that people have mentioned him in the past, including a debate, like an interview he did with FNGR, but everyone else is just lying about him when he says all the shit that he says. However, under scrutiny via the investigation, it was discovered that Daniel never said anything to the GC2, which includes admitting to anything. The GC2 lied when they said Daniel exposed himself by admitting his crimes. Are you talking about fucking Bo Daniels or Romanos? Because it seems like you're going back. Like, can you do me a favor and pick a fucking continuity? Sadly, we the people were all duped because in reality that Daniel was threatened to repeat words that Gage told him to say. Right. Right, because if you can see everyone's interface and you can tell that no one's telling him to say jack shit, and he's trying to fucking lie to make himself seem like he's being fed lines. You mean to tell me that a person is so goddamn dumb they'll start trying to pretend to be fed lines just so they can get themselves out of trouble, and you're so fucking stupid you buy a hook, line, and sinker because it's more convenient to believe that everyone else is the asshole? Which is why in recent communications we assisted Daniel Romanos in communicating with the GC2, which were being recorded for YouTube in order to reverse the effects of the victimization of the GC2. Daniel is a good person who deserves utmost respect and does not deserve to receive the bullying, harassment, persecution, racial bias that Gage last name and the GC2 showed against him. Gage actions against Mexican, Puerto Ricans, and South American people is an embarrassment to his country and his family name. Despite the fact that I've never brought up anything south of the border, and I've never used people's Hispanic heritage as a way to discredit them as a person because I'm not that big of an asshole. I think you keep saying that like, well, this person's racist, this person's racist, this person's a racist, and you're saying this only because people are questioning what the fuck you're doing. Fuck yourself. However, Gage, last name Madness, did not stop there. A victim by the name of Andrew Velasco went through the same thing. However, he was almost led to suicide during the debate via Discord with Gage last name and the GC2. After the incident, our team requested that Andrew officially report and block Gage and any members of the GC2 who attempts to communicate with him. We offered him access to resources to support. Demagogue Shinya monitored the communication channels. In all, Andrew had it worse than Daniel because Andrew was a victim of the same time the GC2 accepted new members into their cult. The GC2 lost a lot of members after the first investigations when they were exposed for hacking into AMOC's internet accounts and shutting down his digital outlets. None of us hacked into AMOC's shit, you stupid cocksucker. The reason he started shutting down his accounts was because people on Facebook that I don't know about, who I've never fucking met, started reporting him because he was saying a whole bunch of shit that condoned child fucking and baby fucking. When people start saying shit like that online, there tends to be a lot of fucking uproar because it's some pretty serious shit to say. But keep blaming other people for the actions of people who they don't fucking know, who happen to dislike the person for the same fucking reasons because they go around trying to straight up condone a fucked up cause. And Andrew wasn't gonna fucking kill himself after the discussion. He was just saying that to elicit sympathy because fuckheads like him that do that all the time. Whenever they get caught lying or doing something really screwed up, they immediately try to play the sympathy card in their mind because they believe it gets them out of trouble when really all it does is make them look sad and pathetic, trying to elicit sympathy by whining and bitching and pretending that they're dealing with some sort of emotional issues, when really it's because they got caught and their parents are talking to them about it and they need to find a way to try to leverage sympathy. Said actions were reported to the FBI. Yep, yeah, because if you have no evidence whatsoever to connect someone to something, you just immediately report them to the FBI because it's not like it's a massive waste of the FBI's time to call people and say, well, okay, the Bong guy was hacking into AMOC's accounts. I know I don't have any evidence at all, at all, at all, but I'm going to keep saying you did this despite the fact that I have no proof and you've never demonstrated any real interest in doing this. However, in this case, we recommended that Andrew just blocked. You mean block, not blocked. Because blocked is a past tense. Block, it means that you do it presently. all of the GC2 digital accounts that it's communication with them. You mean has communicated with him or have communicated with him? Because Andrew was in a state of emotional distress because the harassment and cyberbullying authorized by Gage's last name against him, and we did not want to stress him out any further because, unlike Gage's last name, we care about humanity, and it shows. Yeah, when you start sucking people off relentlessly because people tell you that you're a fucking brain dead fuckface, it immediately means that you have to whine and bitch and screech and call people racist because you're too stupid to accept the fact that not everyone's going to agree with you, if anyone at all. This bullshit's actually drying out my throat. Both Andrew and Daniel are innocent of all accusations made by Gage last name in the GC2 digital cult as determined by the evidence that was presented to us on March 23rd, 2020. Instead, okay, so it's like, yeah, when you, okay, so something that happened months afterwards, like months before the stuff even happened, you magically had the evidence, okay. It was also determined that Gage was a threat to himself and others, and he should receive the medical and mental help that he needs, whether he admits to it or not. No one is obligated to admit to being, like, for example, schizophrenic or someone who's suffering from psychosis if they themselves are not diagnosed this way, and you do not have the right to try to make judgment calls on another person's behalf about their mental state because it suits you to continue to say that they're like a danger to themselves. That Jonathan Curtin was a victim of the GC2 cult and the evil hands of Gage last name. However, most of the communications done between Jonathan and the GC2 involved correspondence and support from our team. Also, Gage last name didn't participate in all of the communications, which is good because Gage can be quite annoying and hard to relate to. Well, the reason you can't relate to anyone that doesn't agree with everything you say is because exactly that. You need everyone to just mindlessly agree with you, and because people don't mindlessly tell you everything you want to hear, you find it difficult to relate. I don't relate to a bunch of sick fuck child fuckers because I myself happen to not be a sick fuck child fucker. That's exactly why. Just like, for example, a person cannot relate to someone who disagrees with them on every fucking thing they say. It's not hard to figure out why people don't agree with you. It's because you're insane. Michael Madis was just a supporter of another YouTuber. He didn't do anything wrong, except for the part where he straight up admits to molesting his sister. And Gage and his cohorts made everything up, which is why you never prove a fucking thing you say. As I always say, you become the enemy of the conservatives just by being a friend to their enemy. No, you become an enemy to people that don't agree with you when you start saying a whole bunch of really screwed up shit that helps them really not like you as a person. When you're straight up trying to print libelous, cocksucking bullshit, trying to tell them they're a piece of garbage, while at the same time not proving a fucking thing you say. Sadly, these fools, the GC2 thinks the human beings are animals, hence calling Asian people fish and liberals frogs. No, they call Mattis a frog because his voice sounds like a croak, and they call you a fish because you're ugly as fuck and you have huge fucking lips like a fish, and your eyes are always like scraped into the side of your head like a fish's eyes are on the side of its skull. They, the GC2, are responsible for the destruction of lives of many innocent people who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, just like Amos E, who was standing up for the rights of innocent against those who oppressed them like Gage last name an oppressor. Amos was and always will be the hero of this story, for he paved the way for other freedom fighters to have a platform to get their voices heard. Now even the victims have a voice. This is why Gage and his cult followers are failing, and their political movement has collapsed, just like capitalism has in America, despite the fact that capitalism still runs the economy. Gage never shows mercy to anyone, and everyone is in danger of being victimized by said cult. Their indoctrination process is done via Discord, YouTube, and other social media sites, which is how Gage managed to get members and victims alike from all over the world, such as New Zealand, Malaysia, which is a shame because all they are doing is ruining the reputations of these countries and connecting them with hate speech and abominable acts against humanity, like bullying, lying, and discrimination, just to name a few. Sadly, Gage and last name and his cult hasn't realized yet that they are only ones ruining their own lives and not changing the world in their favor. End of chapter 3. Now let me just say this, you fucking pretentious pansy-ass, cocksucking dumbass. No one's trying to change the world. They're simply disagreeing with a bunch of fucking sick fuck child rapists who think that being a child rapist somehow makes them better than everyone else around them. It's never been political. You make it political because you're so fucking dumb you need to constantly find a way to make sure that it's always us versus them. Even Michael Mattis and Michael Helm, Hypersonic and Mattis the Frog think you're fucking stupid and crazy. When even those dumb fucks look at you and call you an idiot and think you're insane, then you can tell you've gone into some really wild territory. That's the end of chapter 2. I'll begin chapter 3 shortly. Yes, sorry for taking so long. Anyway, here comes chapter 3. Chapter 3. Stop defending terrorists. Terrorist, not terrorists, as in multiple, since there are multiple people busting your balls around this time. More importantly, why are none of, the only thing that's capitalized in the title is the S in the word stop. None of the other letters are capitalized in the entire fucking title of this chapter. More importantly, why does the title of the chapter need to be beneath the number of the chapter instead of chapter 03 and then 2 dots and then the title, or just the number then the title? You need to put a big ass space in it. I don't know if it's just the way it's formatted on Kindle Reader, or if that's just the way it's formatted if you were getting in an actual paperback. But really, it just looks it does not look pleasing aesthetically when it's formatted this way. Gage and the GT to clearly support terrorism against minorities. Otherwise, they would not act the way they do or believe in the things they believe in. As we discussed in the previous chapter, Gage is the guilty one, not those who he claims are guilty. So people who openly admit that they're sick fucks that are into fucking children or animals or siblings or whatever, because they have these really unhealthy sexual attractions to members of their family or animals or children, they're not bad people. But if someone simply says, hey, these guys need some help or they need to get arrested, one or the other, that's the person that's being the sick fuck degenerate when they suggest a person actually seek help for their problems. I almost wonder what it would be like to inhabit the delusional Disneyland you call your brain. Except I don't want to be there because I'd probably shoot myself in the fucking head. Naturally, he will deny this on his YouTube videos, but as we also established in the previous chapter, Gage and his cult are chronic liars. Again, just because people say things that conflicts with your narrative and you refuse to acknowledge that you're the one making shit up 90% of the time, if not all the time, that doesn't make the other person a liar. The weirdest part is when you're not making shit up, you usually just end up twisting what people say out of context anyway, because you know that if you use their words verbatim, it's you that sounds like the lunatic and not them. Funny how that works, is it not? They brag about their infliction of pain and discomfort on others, congratulating each other on a job well done for making their hate-filled conservative propaganda videos. Their cold, hard-hearted agenda fuels their mind, body, and spirit. No, it's just the fact that people do get some sort of catharsis from seeing people rip into fucking morons like you, who make it a point to screech about fucking nothing, who victimize themselves over their own fucking stupid horseshit fucking behavior, to the point to where they start pissing themselves every time someone tells them that they're not right about everything. Gage acts like he controls everybody. He sits there in front of his webcam telling people how to think and feel and act. No, I just simply say that someone having really fucked up mentalities is not the way to go about life. You can either get some fucking help or do something with yourself. Or, I don't know, maybe try to do something more with your life besides sticking yourself up everyone else's ass to follow them around like a fucking cantankerous remora. He thinks that the written word is cancer. Yeah, I don't see him doing anything productive with his time. Just because I disagree with your books doesn't mean I think every book in the world is cancer. There are good books out there, yours just aren't one of them. If anything, Gage is jealous of me because I managed to expose him for the hypocrite that he is, and he has no way of controlling the situation. This is because Gage is a control freak who always has to have his way. Aren't you the motherfucker that goes out of his way to remove people's content whenever they say things that he doesn't like about him and the stuff that he publishes? I mean, you're projecting. Again, pure projection. Look at how he treats people, listen to how he talks, see how he acts, and watch his every move. He wants control over our lives. Yeah, I refuse to hand my soul over to his cause. It's not a cause. I just make fun of idiots and help point out YouTube pedophiles so that people don't get groomed or molested by them. That is not the same fucking thing as actually running a religious organization or having some sort of organization or some sort of group who actually has a legitimate interest in controlling the general public. Again, it's one thing to agree on a set of morals and ethics that the general public will agree on and trying to ensure the safety of others online by pointing out people who are legitimately sick fuck degenerates. And then there's doing what you keep saying everyone's doing, where they're trying to like straight up bore themselves into people's brains to make them think differently. Thinking critically and asking questions and proposing an argument that disagrees with yours doesn't mean it's a cult. If anything, people are just trying to raise awareness about sick degenerates like you, because unfortunately there are far too many of you alive. And no, it's not because you're trans or because you claim to be Asian, it's because you're just legitimately fucking nuts. Insane. Out of your fucking mind. Completely out of your gourd. You're gone mentally. You're in the fucking land of, like, you're in the fucking wonderland and someone's offering you a cracker to quench your thirst. So now he, all ill-tempered and acting weird, weirder than he usually acts because I beat him at his own game and turned the tables in my favor. No, it's just the fact is I think you're a moron when you keep talking out of your fucking ass about situations you blatantly lack the understanding of. And you're sitting there whining and screeching and throwing a fucking tantrum because you don't know how to deal with people simply telling you no. When you start demanding people listen to you and listen to what you have to say and treat it like it's fact because you're the one that said it and people tell you no, you have these fucking episodes where you write 50 to 75 to 100 pages of slander, essentially pissing and moaning because people call you a faggot on the internet. But honestly, I don't care because this is the consequence for Gage and his cult victimizing me and the human race. Dude, there's a difference between criticizing specific people that occupy our species for the fucked up things they do, and then there's just legitimately, indiscriminately attacking people at random. And you're so fucking crazy, you can't differentiate the two. It's about time someone stood up to Gage and said, "Shut your bloody gulp, I'm trying to nap here." Yeah, nap here, okay, well, who is trying to sleep in the middle of the day or in the early evening where a lot of these videos are recorded? Huh? Who? I love how your whole context of shit like this essentially goes, here's a reason why everyone else needs to tell this person to go away, but I'm not gonna go away. They should go away. I'm not accountable for my actions. They're accountable for my actions. They should go away. Boo! That's really how you sound. You sound like you're throwing one of these fucking tantrums like, I'm here, and I'm not leaving, and you can't make me, and I'm allowed to attach yourself to myself to your life, and I'm allowed to leech off you till I'm fucking dead. Which will be sooner than you expect if you actually do something physically to harm me or fuck with my family in any way. Meaning it's about time that reality sets into Gage's corrupted mindset and humanity is not taking crap from you, Gage, and you're calling anything. Right, because you speak on behalf of every person alive now, right? Is that your argument? You tell yourself you're the representative of every human being in the population on this planet, and you just sit there continuously stroking your fucking ego, telling yourself that you have all the answers and you can solve all these fucking problems. No, you don't. You don't have help for anything that people go through. You really don't. Because when people go through some shit that you claim doesn't exist, you just diminish what that suffering means for your own narrative. You don't give a fuck about people who've gone through some of the worst psychological and physical anguish a person can go through. Because in your mind, if it doesn't fit within a certain set of parameters or it doesn't happen to a certain subsect of people, it doesn't matter to you. And that's the way it's always been. It's always been a matter of you needing to victimize others to make yourself feel like the victim when they come back and swing back at you. The very fact that I can write 4 full books filled with Gage-inspired nonsense shows that his madness has gone on long enough. Gage is the cancer and I am the cure. Right. I am the cure. I can solve all the world's problems. And this guy is one of them because I don't like him. Or you can suck a dick, grow up, and die. Like all the cures, the virus, Gage, and the DT2 must be eradicated. Oh, are you gonna fucking threaten to kill me, you stupid sorry cunt? Come and get me. You and I can fight hand to hand. I'll fight fair and still beat your ass. This is what this book is for. Knowledge and wisdom destroys stupidity and foolishness. So this book destroys Gage by exposing the hypocrisy within the GC2 and Gage belief system in its entirety. You don't need to put a apostrophe after S, dumbass, because apostrophe in the word it's means it is instead of ITS, which means it belongs to it. For one thing, Gage hates homeless people, as he has made perfectly clear in the YouTube videos. Mocking you because you're retarded is not the same thing as discrediting every homeless person, you stupid prick. God, you're such a fucking retard. Gage hates pregnant women, as expressed when he insulted my friend Liliana for being pregnant when he and Gage was reviewing a book for the first time not in service series. No, I'm just saying that this person's obviously going to be pregnant with a human that has not been born yet. They're not going to be pregnant with anything else but a human being. You stupid fuck. I'm simply making the point that it's all tell, don't show, or show, don't tell. You can't do anything at all when it comes to how you describe situations in these turds, because you're a shitty writer. Of course. Oh, look, if I said of course right. Gage will act like nothing happened, but we all know when he's done. We all know when he's done. There's nothing wrong with being pregnant. I never said that there was anything wrong with being pregnant. I'm just saying that you don't need to specify if the word pregnant is self-explanatory. You idiot. Except in Gage's case, where it would have been better if the world was if he was never born. Oh, okay, so you're allowed to say that I shouldn't have been born, but if I say it to you, you throw a fucking tantrum. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. I mean it. End your little fucking facade you call an existence. Then pregnant woman wouldn't be abused by Gage, and Kate would have a lot more successful than she is now. Oh, so you're saying that you have the ability to determine whether or not someone's life would be successful based upon someone's absence or presence in their life? That kind of sounds a bit presumptuous, you fucking sexist. Gage is a bad luck charm indeed. A human being is not a luck charm. Luck doesn't exist. It's all a matter of probability. He is clearly brain dead and doesn't know how to let things go. You mean like how when people told you to shut the fuck up and stop harassing them, you made it a point to keep doing it for months after the fact because you don't know when to fuck off? Nobody has to write their books the way you tell them to. No, but the least they could do is actually type shit properly and maybe try to proofread the shit they print before they actually try to sell it. And maybe, just maybe, if they'd make something worth a fuck, people would actually like reading it instead of reading it just to spite and mock you. You spastic, babbling, screeching fucking retard. Every book is different in its own way, so accept it. So accept it, Gage, and move on. Oh, blow me. Learn how to read a book without bias and nitpicking at everything like you want writers to fail or something. No, I don't need to want you to fail because you fail as it is. These things don't make any money because no one really cares what you have to say. People listen to me read these because they know for a fact they themselves don't want to pay money for it. Stop looking for things to complain about and start being positive about life. Gage has no idea what these books actually represents. You mean represent, dumb fuck. He has no idea what the context of the book is and has not understand the words can have more than one meaning. I admit that words have more than one meaning. I'm fully aware of that. It's just the fact is I refuse to believe shit that you say because a lot of the times you backpedal the hell over a lot of stuff you've said before, or you just blatantly lie about things. Yet instead of admitting he does not know these things, Gage decides to make up stuff and review the not-in-service book with which no knowledge whatsoever. You mean with no knowledge. And no, it's not without knowledge. When I read these, I tell people what I think based upon some of the ways that you word things, and some of the things that you say, and some of the things that you happen to speak about when you phrase words and when you phrase your sentences in a particular way about someone or something. It kind of sounds weird when you look at the context in which you say something, and it comes off as sounding very fucking creepy and weird. This is why he failed to review the book properly and embarrassing himself by saying things about the book that is not true. You mean that are not true. You sped. Learn how to fucking formulate a sentence. Like the use of the word children represents creation / the power to create and not humanity, or the false conservative agenda and the belief system called age, which never existed. So Gage, like always, is wrong. Again, no wonder Gage has a red sweaty face all the time. Here's an idea, faggot. How about instead of just making up new definitions to match words that you can't define because it fucks up your brain, trying to reason with yourself, maybe you should just accept the fact that you need to just take the L. Take the L. Accept the fact that you're not right about everything. Maybe you learn from your fucking stupid screw-ups instead of repeating them ad nauseum, wondering why the fuck it is that everyone and their goddamn mother is mocking at you and pointing at you and laughing at you. Because you're too fucking stupid to comprehend what the fuck you're doing. And you're trying way too fucking hard to justify your stupid fucking faggoty nonsense. Clearly, Gage needs an education because Amos, he ain't not, nor myself would ever make crass intellectual mistake like this. Are you done sucking each other off, fuckface? I mean, really, you blow this person more than most people blow themselves. Which shows that all of Gage bragging about "I'm smarter than you" was a cover-up for the truth that Gage make mistakes like any other human being. Again, I've never denied making mistakes. It's just the fact is I don't deny science and statistics and facts because it would benefit me to ignore them, you fucking retard. Making mistakes is not the problem here. But however Gage handles the situation is, Gage acts like he's God, yet time and time again he gets knocked back into reality, and then he gets mad. So all these things are only happening because Gage, last name, yeah, you know, when you make it a point to act like a dipshit about everything, and you constantly accost people, and people tell you to shut your ass and stop harassing them, it's their fault you're harassing them, and not your fault for continuing to do it. Like, it's always just assign blame to everyone else. 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 That's all you do. That's the only thing you seem to be capable of doing, because you're too stupid to comprehend that nothing you say is true. I have nothing to do with his life choices. That's his world. It's not my world. I don't own the world. I just happen to inhabit the world that everyone else lives in. It's just the fact that I make my own choices. But now he wants to force us to live like him and be like him. Worlds collide. No, it's just the fact is I refuse to be told how to think and feel about a situation that happened to me as a young teenager just because it conflicts with your particular narrative. All this drama is his doing. All of his anger is nothing is his doing. And him getting in trouble is his own doing. Everything that he is going through right now is his own doing, not mine. Naturally getting blamed everyone else for his problems because he's too lazy. You know, you misspelled two. It's supposed to be T-O-O when it means that something is larger or if something's included. To fix his own problems. That's it. He can't even get my name right. So why would anyone trust him to tell the truth about another person's life and beliefs? He lies about who he really is. So don't trust Gage or his cult members listed above to explain anyone else's life. If you want the truth, go to the source. And in my case, I am the source. So what you're saying is that everything that you've documented yourself saying, everything you've recorded yourself saying in videos, all the statements you've made in videos before this was written, and even during the time this was being written, those things are not good enough. We cannot trust your sources if they're coming from you specifically and people are criticizing those sources. Instead, people are supposed to trust you at fucking face value and believe everything you say just based upon the fucking fact that you said it alone. Fuck you. No. The real world relies on data and empiricism. It doesn't rely on, tell me everything I do is right, even though nothing I say is true. No. The real world doesn't work that way, fuckhead. And it's never going to work that way. The real world isn't obligated to bend to your particular whim or narrative just because you feel like it's inconvenient for you. You're a legitimate fucking schizophrenic. And the shit I'm reading is actually starting to legitimately piss me the fuck off. Because what I'm seeing here is a legitimate paranoid schizophrenic, trying way too hard to justify the things that he's saying just on the basis that people are saying things to him that he does not like, are disagreeing with his narrative, are questioning his stance on things, and are poking fun at him. And the fact that he's doing this shit makes me really not care about his little baby bitch petty fucking fifis. If you do get around to seeing this, go fuck yourself, Stetson. I don't give a shit about your fucking feelings. No one has to. No one does. Grow up. Fuck off. That's the end of chapter 3. Alright, let's continue. Chapter 4, I am the source. I think that by now, excuse me, I can't read this very well because it's formatted shittily. You understand why you shouldn't trust Gage last name on his cult and why they spew information on YouTube or their social media networking sites, nor should you trust their information in person in any form of communication. We also established that all of the Gage and his cult's evidence against anyone are all fake news-based lies. We discussed how Gage is not mentally stable, how he keeps hurting himself by continuing to be on social media, how he hates women, the LGBTP plus community, and the truth, and how he is biased and blames all of his flaws on others. Again, I never once said I hated women, or lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender people. Again, just because I get frustrated and antagonized with the stupid crap you say, especially since it's patently untrue, doesn't mean someone is mentally unwell. Someone being frustrated or antagonized with you is the typical response when you trumpet a load of bullshit about someone large enough to make Mount Everest look like a pebble. Seriously, you are standing upon a mountain of bullshit so fucking high that Mount Everest is looking up and saying, "God damn, that's tall." We also explored the depths of how Gage victimization has led to his own failure, how people are getting justice against Gage, and how Kate would be better off without Gage because of his constant maintenance, drama, and abuse that comes with knowing him. Let alone anyone being close to him. We established his mental disability, his emotional problems, and even the investigation against him and his conviction. We covered his lack of fashion sense, his belief in looking nice somehow makes you gay, his difficulties understanding the real context of what he is reading, and the human rights violations that he labels as jokes, when in fact it is not a joke at all, but rather a hate crime. Now that we got all that out of the way and understand why he should never trust Gage the damn guy on YouTube in any way, shape, or form, we can discuss other things. One thing that is important is the fact that all of this happened within a 2-year time frame, yet Gage still goes off trying to convince people that his lies are the truth because he says so. Gage wears conservative style underwear, yet bullies everyone who doesn't. I wear boxers, not briefs. And I don't care about people's underwear. Oh, by the way, in the word doesn't, for whatever reason, he has a comma instead of apostrophe. And I don't understand, he does realize that the T is supposed to be part of the word and not spaced away from it right next to the period. Gage never talks about himself and is seriously hiding something. Who is he really? And what is he hiding? There's a difference between hiding something and then there's just not feeling the need to drag all your personal skeletons into the fucking closet and drag them out just so people can then beat you about the head with them and pretend that they're somehow better. Gage life is extremely boring. His YouTube streams and videos are boring. His fashion style, his speech is boring. His clothing is boring. His beliefs are lame and boring. Even Kate is tired of being around Gage, just like everyone else. He doesn't take care of his hair. His face is sweaty and dirty. He never had sex before because he hates sex for whatever reason. He tries to stop everyone else from having it, aka Gage is a virgin. His penis is small. He has no butt. He is fat and flabby. And he is always staring into the camera like he's trying to use the force on it. Oh fuck! Like, seriously, you got like 4 or 5 in a row. Let me just debunk those really quick. Yeah, the Kate thing, not a big deal. I'm not gonna bring that up because it's neither here nor there. He doesn't take care of his hair. Just because I don't put so much fucking hair conditioner and shit in it to the point where it looks like I stepped out of a salon for like a hair care salon for women, doesn't mean I don't take care of my scalp or my hair. It just means that I try like clean myself normally, like shower like everyone else. That does not inherently mean that I'm going to look like someone who's a metrosexual who uses way more fucking moisturizer and skin cream than they need to. His face is sweaty and dirty. My face is hardly ever sweaty and dirty. He never had sex before. Have, but it's not really a concern. He hates sex for whatever reason. He tries to stop everyone else from having sex. You can have it if you want, just as long as you're not fucking another person that's underage, or is a member of your family, or fucking an animal. He's a virgin. I'm not, but keep saying that. His penis is smell. Look in the mirror. He has no butt. Why is my ass any of your concern? He's fat and flabby. Actually, I'm really fucking thin and tall, but keep saying that. And he is always staring at the camera like he's trying to use the force on it. Dude, when I'm looking at the camera like this, it's because I'm having an incredibly difficult time deciding whether or not you're just a retard or legitimately fucking nuts. And part of me wonders if you're both always going back and forth between insanity and retardation because you can't pick a fucking side of the fence to sit on. Gage always has a bad attitude. He is pessimistic about life. And he fears living life to the fullest. I don't mind living life to your fullest. I believe you should treat every day and make the most of it. But I also believe it's not okay to do terrible shit and fuck with people. Gage hates Black Lives Matter, supports the corrupt cops of the military, aka terrorists, hates other languages other than English, and those who speak other languages. He can't even get an erection. Again, what is it with you talking about my dick? What the fuck is your problem? Like, he hates all these things. Let's go back to his dick. Like, dude, please, just make a fucking decision here. Where are we going with this shit? Like, if you're gonna do a personal attack, do a personal attack. Don't do this shit where you're trying to mix in a whole bunch of ad hominems and you immediately, well, he ain't got no dick. He got no dick. Seriously, you fucking retard. Again, Black Lives Matter has legitimate cause to state things that are important. It's important that people are aware of violence in the black community that corrupt cops occasionally commit. And there does need to be more accountability for that. I'm not going to deny that. I've never denied that. The reason I support the military is because they're probably one of the few lines of defense we have from people invading the country and bombing the shit out of us. But, they ignore the actual threat of terrorism. Because the people that call you mean names, those are more dangerous than people who blow up buses full of people. Speak whatever language you want, I really don't care. Gage is afraid of masturbating. He never had an orgasm, and he loathes people who watch or who star in porn. I really don't care if someone masturbates or not. I really don't care if you're in porn or not. It's none of my fucking concern. As long as everyone's of age, everything's legal, and everyone's taking the right precautions, I really don't care. Again, you're essentially trying to say that a person has to have all these beliefs because they don't agree with your beliefs. If they don't agree with you on one thing or a couple things, it means they hate everything in general. Honestly, you're showing the same kind of cancerous fucking, like, borderline insane mentality that a lot of people that occupy the hard left do. You're out of your fucking mind. Gage hates transgender and the LGBT plus community, which he's mocking right now. He has no one who loves him and does not know how to show love towards others. Again, just because I refuse to pander to you doesn't mean I'm incapable of loving anyone. It just means that I refuse to like you and treat you as though you're the victim of every situation that you're involved in because you're legitimately not. And I don't feel obligated to pander to you and baby you because you're a douchebag who needs to constantly tell himself that everyone else is always the fault of his problems and never any of his own actions. Seriously, get the fuck over yourself. Gage hates crossdressers, drag queens, sissies, agender people. What are agender people? Is that a person that does not choose a gender? Because people who wears tight clothes and have the body for it, like I do. You don't have the body for it. You have man tits and a beer belly. You think dressing in clothes 3 times is too small for you makes you look good. Gage hates overweight people and fat shames them. He hates Asians, black people, the disabled, the Chinese, liberal, Democrat, Barack Obama. Gage loves Donald Trump. He hates Muslims, hates Buddhists, Maoists. He loves conservative Christianity. He loves coming up with ideas from how he wants the victims to. His favorite is go run in the traffic. His favorite saying is go fuck yourself and fuck you. And he's not funny. Never told a joke. And he believes that reading books is a form of cancer. And a whole long list of other things. No wonder he started all this drama with me, MOC, and others. He has no life and needs human interaction. However, he hasn't learned to forgive people and stop holding grudges over nothing. Gage doesn't have an education. So now he is lonely, boring, and uneducated. Wow, what a sad existence that he lives in. Right. That's coming from the same stupid motherfucker who had months and months and months and months and months and months to write this stupid shit. And for some fucking reason, you're the one that's not lonely. Alright then. Not that I'm excusing Gage and his cult behavior and snooty attitude against people who are different, etc. But what do you expect from a boring guy like Gage except mayhem and disorder? Well, boring and mayhem are quite different because boring is a state where nothing is going on at all, and mayhem is a state where everything's in a constant state of change. You made a statement that contradicts itself right off the bat. Good job, dumbass. He has nothing going on in his life. Having a job doesn't count. Why does having a job not count? Having a job is one of the things that actually gives people a motivation to go get up in the morning and do well for themselves. It's one of the things that gets people motivated. And jealousy has kicked in. He's a melting pot of emotion and doesn't have the education to deal with it intellectually. So he acts out. He drags Kate into the mess and has nothing to do with her. Even Kate seems to have a better life than Gage. Gage therefore stresses other people because he feels stressed and does not know how to act intelligently and peacefully release it. Gage needs to see a therapist and a mental specialist before he hurts himself or anyone else again. Like, I didn't realize that you were the motherfucker capable of making diagnoses on someone else's behalf. Now, knowing Gage as I do, I'm going to come up with some lame rebuttal, aka utilizing this defense mechanisms to say that at least I have a job and don't sit on my computer harassing people. Well, it's fucking true. It is fucking true. I'd be lying if I said that didn't sound like something I would say because it would be a rebuttal to the stupid shit you say. Gage doesn't think that people who are writers or who work from home have a real job. No, I think someone that brands themselves a writer because they publish through Amazon, who no one takes seriously, who everyone mocks and ridicules, isn't necessarily working because no one takes this seriously. It's not a sustainable income if no one buys it, dumbass. The same reason that if someone is an artist and they don't make a single penny from their paintings, it could be a great hobby, but if you're not making money from your hobby, you don't have a career, you have a dead end. Or at least I'm not stalking people like you do, which is true, you stalk people. As we already many times, those things, stalking, are not Gage does, not me. Because he knows nothing at all about me. He doesn't even know my real name. He is not at liberty to say anything against me. But he should go fix himself because I wrote 6 full books about him. It kind of sounds like you need to fix yourself when you have such an unhealthy obsession with someone that you write 6 full volumes of slander, libelistic, faggoty horseshit, which is more or less devoted to constantly trying to degrade and assassinate the character of a person who you don't fucking know, who you know fundamentally nothing about, because they called you a dipshit on the internet, to the point where you start having temper tantrums and emotional episodes where you're ready to slit your wrist when people stop paying you attention, when people start distancing themselves from you as a result of seeing the shit people have said about you in the past. You get suicidal and depressed because you realize no one wants to be around someone so mentally fucked as you. I mean, it sounds like you're the one that has a problem when you straight up make 6 full volumes about how everyone else is at fault but never you. Because I have been studying him and his cult members for over 2 years. FYI, the only videos that Gage and his cult know how to make are fake news, laced hate speech propaganda videos, which promotes their beliefs and their agenda. which promote their beliefs and their agenda. Learn how to spell, fuckhead. Nothing else. Personally, I prefer Desmond is amazing over Gage videos, Gage the Doom Guy's videos. At least Desmond speaks the truth, shows respect, promotes love. Unlike Gage, who promotes hatred and death. No wonder Desmond has more subscribers than Gage does. Same goes for Simply Kane, Gay God, Real Paul, etc. These are all YouTube channels, shows drag queen, LGBTP plus community. I can hear Gage mocking them in a response video again. Truly have the potential to defeat Gage, the conservatives like Gage and his clan who oppress them, including myself. Gage clearly cannot survive the 21st century, aka the present. No, it's just the fact is I refuse to constantly be told that I am always at fault for the stupid shit you say or do. I refuse to be constantly admonished for simply disagreeing with you and criticizing you because you're a legitimately insane little fuck who's in denial that anything at all he's ever said or done could be criticized or disagreed with. Your entire argumentation revolves around you blaming other people for your stupid horseshit actions and then throwing a goddamn temper tantrum whenever people tell you in no uncertain terms to shut the fuck up because you make it a point to be halfway up everyone's ass about stupid shit. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, out of the plethora of stupid fucking shit you've said, that's just another reason why people don't fucking like you. I don't know. Maybe, just fucking maybe. That is why people don't fucking like you. When you go out of your way to act like a psychotic, narcissistic, sociopathic, schizophrenic little cunt who's in denial that he's a black man, who calls himself an Asian woman, who calls himself transgender, who calls himself Enchaîné, who makes up all these little fucking aliases on every other goddamn account he runs, on every other social media platform he can currently get his little flippers on, where he's constantly uploading bullshit propaganda about how the other person's always a piece of shit, how the other person's always an asshole, how the other person's always at fault for every fucking thing he does. Go fuck yourself. No one is obligated to be nice to you or like you or tolerate the shit you say about them, especially if it's not fucking true. You're a whiny, duplicitous, sucking little nebulous little fucking man baby who has nothing better to do with his time but constantly circle jerk himself and tell himself that everyone else is at fault for the stupid shit he's done. Honestly, one day you're going to kill yourself, and you're going to do it when you finally realize that everything you've worked so hard for is nothing but a bunch of bullshit, and the fact that the bullshit's being pulled away from you and being torn from you freaks you out because you have nothing to work for. You have nothing to show for it, and I think that's what really freaks you out the greatest. So have fun. Have fucking fun, realizing that nothing you do matters, and that no one fucking cares except you. Chapter 5, My Love for Kate Redacted. Here's the question, fuckhead. How can you have a love for someone that you've never really interacted with at all, who's never spoken to you aside from telling you to go fuck yourself and calling you a retard? I don't understand how you can have positive feelings towards someone who's straight up said they don't fucking like you, who has more or less stated they have no interest in you at all, who has openly been hostile to you because of the way you've treated the people that they care about and someone that they love dearly. I don't understand how the fuck it is you can still try to attach yourself to this person when they ask to be left alone and say that they don't like you. Over the course of 2 years, I have studied the inside outside the GC to go and its dictator Gage's last name. Every last one of those conservative jerks have brought nothing but hell to society as a whole, aka humanity, except conservatives. Gage is hating Asians, Damien is hating people who are smarter than him, jealousy. Jennifer Manila is spazzing out like a mental patient, repeating you first like an uneducated drug addict. I can hear Gage say, says the fish-looking retard, like he always does. Gage is so predictable, aka boring. But Kate is not like that. Granted, Kate has her moments of unintelligent banter and the occasional hateful comment and misconception of the facts, only because Gage is coercing her to be like him, most likely to pass on the cult to her and to continue the hate campaign way into the 21st and 22nd centuries. Gage is a bad influence and a horrible role model to Kate, but Kate is actually human compared to the idiot GC2 cult whose only job should be to sit in the silence facing the wall. Here's the thing, fuckface. When this person says they don't like you and they told you to shut the fuck up and stop harassing them, that's not a sign that they are just being unintelligent or, well, you're just being mean to me right now because someone's making you be mean to me. It can't be because I'm an asshole. That's exactly what the fuck it is. It's someone straight up saying, leave me alone, fuck off. Like, seriously, you're demonstrating this weird little cognitive dissonance where you're acting like people disliking you has to be the fault of someone else and not you. It's kind of sad because you're demonstrating that you have no fucking idea what this person actually thinks about you, despite the fact that they make it a point to tell you to fuck off and stop pestering them. Oh, so you're saying that a person that you deem conservative is not human? Because you call them conservative, they lose all their humanity. They lose any right they have to have a job or have a place to live or have the right to eat their food or drink their booze or smoke their cigarette or smoke some weed. You're saying that they inherently lose all their rights and all their inalienable rights that you claim to have as a citizen of the United States because they disagree with you and because they don't agree with your political affiliation. It just magically means they deserve to have their rights taken away. You're an asshole. Kate is no Kourtney Kardashian or Kareena Kapoor, but Kate's quite thankful for a Michigan girl or whatever. Not much happens in Michigan, but it's not far from Canada, right on the border at the northern part of the state, so I'm cool with it. What the fuck does that have to do with anything, you sped? And the rest of it, let's see, he copies a Wikipedia about the state. In fact, I think I'm in love with Kate, and unlike Gage, my last name rhymes with a Nintendo character. I actually know how to show respect and most importantly, how to love. I wouldn't drag Kate or anyone along for a dangerous and pointless ride of a delusional, overreacting, and random yet annoying hatred against humanity. I would show Kate the respect she deserves by calling her a prostitute and essentially saying that she's not smart enough to think for herself or doing what she wants with herself because you're involved, you fucking faggot. I would show Kate respect. I would take her to fine dining restaurants. We would travel the world, and I would keep her safe from harm. Unlike Gage, my face is red as a tomato, who endangers her life every day without no remorse or second thought. He exposes her to his hateful agenda that could possibly get her killed. I mean, not everyone takes being insulted lightly. In fact, people have been shot for far less. Again, are you essentially saying that someone calling a pedophile a sick fuck is going to get Kate shot, you stupid piece of shit? If Gage was intelligent, which he clearly is not, he should know an important piece of information, seeing how Detroit is in Michigan and the city has a very high crime rate, which includes murders and violence. Why would you risk the life of a beautiful, amazing, intelligent woman like Kate for your own selfish, pointless, dangerous, and dare I say, discriminatory agenda? Clearly, this is a form of abuse, and clearly, Kate deserves so much better as a woman than to hang around a heartless, misogynistic fool like Gage, who doesn't care if you live or die. Here's the thing. Just because you think I don't like certain ethnic groups doesn't mean I dislike them. In fact, you're the one trying to put that fucking bias on me. You're the one trying to assign a prejudice to someone who does not have racial prejudices because you're trying your hardest to justify the cunty, faggoty shit you say about them. That's really all it is. You lie about people up and fucking down to the point to where you try to justify lying about them by saying you lying about them is simply them having an opinion that doesn't agree with you. Ergo, they must be bad because your opinion is always right, even if you can't justify what you think. And that's the thing. You keep saying that you would do so much for this person. Like, I would solve all this person's problems. I would do so much to help this person. I would do so much to help this person. And then it turns out when I talked to Rod about this, and he essentially said, yeah, he wrote that for you. He's trying to get your attention. He seems like he's trying to spite you. I know, and it's fucking stupid. It's stupid. Because you got a grown man that's like 30 years old, be 31 this year, desperately trying his hardest to constantly tell people that he has all the answers to all of the world's problems, while at the same time he's sexually creeping on a woman that wants nothing to do with him, after he tried to creep on a woman prior who also wanted nothing to do with him. Because when she came out as transgender, you were in her DMs constantly trying to get her to fuck you. And since she doesn't really like sex that much, which is understandable considering her history, you went above and beyond and continued to try to drag yourself into her personal life to the point to where she told you to shut the fuck up and stop bothering her and straight up threatened to call the police if you kept harassing her. And instead of simply taking that as a no, You instead decided to take it upon yourself to go to their ailing family member and harass them up and fucking down about stupid fucking shit because a member of their family, their child, told you that you were an asshole and that they didn't want to fuck you. So you started throwing these little goddamn tantrums. From what I see on the YouTube channel of Game the Doom Guy, Gage, and Streaming Doom Guy, he doesn't necessarily know how to be a people person. I guess his brainwashing have turned his mind to mush, which would explain the slurring of his voice and the random empty gazes into the camera, with his mouth open, drooling like a water feature in Las Vegas. Oh look, you finally used a simile. You finally found out what a simile was! Okay, nevertheless. There are better ways to spend your time than to waste it with Gage, the lying conservative last name, like donating to organization to help get rid of the COVID-19 virus, or building better political system that will replace the failed system of capitalism. If you don't like capitalism, go to a country where capitalism isn't reigning, fuck off and die. Or even supporting the community to abolish the police brutality against black people and minorities. If you really want to raise awareness about police brutality in minority communities, that's all well and good. That's a good idea. But the problem is, you don't really care about doing that because instead you're too busy bitching about what I say about you. You screeching retard. Real issues facing America today. But now, well, why don't you? Why don't you? Why is it always, well, you're not raising awareness about these problems? Are you? No. Then why the fuck should someone else? Like, seriously, like, why the fuck is it everyone else's issue? Why the fuck are you the one trying to assign blame to someone for not dealing with a problem that you yourself don't even fucking address, faggot? Like, what the fuck is it with you? You're doing this fucking moral grandstanding, pretending that you're helping resolve a problem that you yourself really don't seem to give a fuck about. I find that funny as hell. That fucking moral grandstanding, I'll fix all the world's problems. And then it turns out you have no fucking idea what it is you're talking about, and you're talking about it with such a degree of certitude that it makes no damn sense. Instead, Gaze wants to spend his time mocking and verbally abusing writers and authors like myself, who doesn't write exactly how he wants. No, it's just because you're a legitimately shitty person who's also a legitimately shitty writer, so you're going 0 for 2. Every book in existence must meet Gage's discriminating standards, or the book become brain cancer and AIDS. No, I call it AIDS because it's kind of like it'll kill your immune system if you read it, and it's brain cancer because trying to read this and trying to actually make sense of it at times is painful because you don't really do shit with it. That really shows you where his priorities lies in his life, if you could even call it a life. You mean where, as in W-H-E-R-E. You spell where as in were, and instead of where his priorities lie or where his priorities stand, it's lies as in L-I-E-S, as in deception, instead of lie as in lying on the ground. Point being that I would be the perfect partner for Kate, and finally she could be the woman she was destined to be, a free, open-minded, independent woman who can pursue her dreams as she chooses instead of what she is now, which is basically an underappreciated maid who caters to Gage every need and does what is told of her by Gage. She has to be forced to listen to empty rants. He forced her to be in his YouTube videos and knows where Kate is at all times. When she cannot, she's ordered to get mad, and Gage get mad. He's just going to ignore him because he's mental and desperate for attention. Right. Rip and tear. Fuck you. You have no right at all to say that you would be the perfect person for anyone. You do not get to choose who chooses you. They do. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're essentially saying this person has to fucking choose you. You're saying that they can't choose for themselves. I would be perfect. If I'm in their life would get better. No, it wouldn't. No, it fucking wouldn't, because you'd be parasitically feeding off of their problems. Like, I would love to see what would happen if this person was having one of those really hard emotional days. You'd be sitting there, why don't you do what I want you to do? Why don't you do what I want you to do? Why don't you do what I want you to do? That's what you'd be doing. You'd be following this person around like a fucking cocksucker, screaming in their face, harassing them, accosting them, instead of like, look, if you need some space, take some space. Let's talk about it when you've had time to calm down. But knowing you, you'd be in their fucking face the whole fucking time, demanding for them to just magically skip over their fucking problems. I mean, that's what dicks like you do. Whenever someone has a problem, your whole need to constantly be up their ass is more important to you than whether or not the person's actually in a good state of mind. I mean, it really is. You're the kind of motherfucker that when someone's dealing with something really fucked up, you need to be right in their fucking face, to throw it in their face the moment they say something, or even if they've said something in the past that you don't like. I mean, fuck, you've done it to me. I mean, you've gone so far as to fucking harass me when a member of my fucking family dies. You've gone so far as to actually include yourself in bits and pieces of my life that are none of your fucking concern. You've even gone so far as to blatantly file false allegations of domestic abuse my way because someone that was like following you around religiously was sucking you off and telling you shit you wanted to hear. And the sad part is you didn't even try to validate what these people were saying. You didn't try to verify them at all. Your whole argument was, well, I heard someone say it. It must be true because it's about you. And I don't have the balls to say I don't like you. So it must be true because it's about you, because I don't like you. But I'm not gonna admit that I don't like you. Instead, I'm gonna pretend that I like you when I'm shitting on you religiously. I have like an unhealthy obsession with you. But I'm not gonna admit that. I'm not going to look at myself and question what the fuck I'm doing with my time. Constantly following you the fuck around and trying to accost you in your personal life. Why the fuck it is I'm creeping on your fucking wife. Why it is I'm fucking with you in some really retarded way, trying to get your fucking attention by saying a whole bunch of really fucked up things about you that aren't true. I'm not at all going to question any of my own motivations for the things that I'm doing. I mean, that's exactly how your actions translate to. That's exactly how they look to people who aren't fucking mentally screwed. Those who are not fucked in the head see a lot of the actions that you do and they just start questioning what the fuck your deal is. Because a lot of it just sounds legitimately fucking bonkers. You sound out of your fucking mind. And it seems like there's a little bit of you, not much of you, but there's just a tiny little fucking bit of you that seems to be aware of it. That's really how it feels. It seems like you're aware of it, but you don't want to acknowledge that there's a tiny little bit of you at the very center of you, like there's a little dust-sized speck that's aware of how stupid and crazy you fucking sound. And because that little speck occasionally gets to have the voice to speak on behalf of itself, instead of the rest of that little bullshit inside your skull that you call your brain cells, like when that one little speck of dust speaks up, that's when you go into panic mode. You start trying to scrub all this shit you sent off the internet. You start trying to flag people's shit down left and right when people start bringing some of the stuff you've said to the attention of many other people. I mean, you've proven, you've gone above and beyond, and you've proven so many times before that you're just legitimately out of your fucking mind, and you really don't care about the consequences to others, especially if it means that you can get what you're always a matter of getting the last word in. You always want to be the person that gets the last word, regardless of whether or not what you're saying is actually true. And you've made that abundantly clear so many fucking times before that people just don't take you seriously. And people don't have to fucking like you. And the fact that you make it abundantly clear that you're always trying to get the last word out of spite, it just makes it that much easier for people to look at you and say, yeah, this guy's fucking insane. And no one should take him seriously because he's not well in the head. And that's really all it fucking takes. It takes, 3 people just to look at you and say, yeah, you're screwed in the head, go away. But the moment someone voices that concern, you freak out. Because I think part of you knows. I honestly believe that part of you deep down knows that you're screwed in the head. And because of that, because of where you stand on things, because of a lot of shit that you say, I would not be the least bit fucking surprised if you finally had one of these fucking episodes where you lose your proverbial shit and finally decide just to go on some sort of psychotic little rampage attacking people physically. Or you finally just decide to step off a high rise and do what you should have done years ago. I don't know. But I can still be hopeful, can't I? Chapter 6. Okay, now he's spelling them out now instead of using numbers. Okay, then. This is getting to be fucking weird. Conservatives and their lack of respect for the written word and those who create it. I love how that's the name of a fucking chapter. You couldn't have just said people don't respect the written word, or they don't respect writers, or just simply the words lack of respect. I felt bad for Gage as he painfully read this trash. I knew Stetson's books were bad, but they were actually worse than what I thought. As hard as it is to believe, I literally Googled it, and it comes up Google as an actual book. In a word that made sense, the trash is an insult to an actual book. Never would have been published in a trillion years. It's true. Had it not been for had it not been for your capacity to self-publish shit on Amazon, you would not be able to publish it had it not been for Amazon allowing no names like you with no literary skill whatsoever to publish anything. Had it not been for the fact that dumb fucks like you abused the ever-loving shit out of Amazon's self-publishing feature, a lot of really awful books like Stones to Abigail, This Is Why I Hate You, Reaper's Creek, Princess Teresa. Like, if it wasn't for Amazon self-publishing a lot of this garbage, wouldn't be on fucking Amazon. It wouldn't be purchasable if Amazon actually had like a legitimate vetting process instead of taking money in exchange for publishing garbage. Quote, Celtics guy, to be honest, I felt bad for all the writers whose creations are assaulted by closed-minded conservatives who would care less about freedom of speech and those who truly embrace it. The written word is not trash. Your conservative-based hatred against free speech is. Here's the thing. It's free speech in and of itself to simply criticize your writing and say that there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of room for improvement. Especially when it comes to the fact that you're not actually telling a fucking story here. You're essentially making characters and basing these online characters on caricatures that are designed to entertain an audience. And you basically tailor make a person's entire character of who they are outside of the internet because they call you a dumb fuck on the internet. Right. But remember, it's free speech when you typecast everyone as a piece of crap because they call you an idiot for writing awful things that are not clever or well written or well spelt or actually spell checked or with any sort of vetting process whatsoever to improve their quality. I knew that Zach Sales guy, conservative YouTuber, was a bully, but he is actually worse than I imagined. Oh, he's a bully because he said what you wrote is garbage because you can't write for shit. Grow up. Get over it. As that is hard to believe because members of the G stand don't call. Imagine, for example, if you're doing like a drinking game and you take a shot of like whiskey or tequila or like something that's like some strong alcohol every time you hear the words conservative, GC2, or my name, you'd be shit-faced in 2 chapters, and by the 3rd chapter, you would actually be vomiting as a result of trying to avoid alcohol poisoning. If you actually tried to complete this bullshit while playing a drinking game with those parameters I mentioned beforehand, you'd probably end up drinking yourself to death in an evening. Please do not do that. Please, no one attempt this. I would rather not have to explain to people that invoices are being sent to me when someone's charging me for their hospital bills because they decided to do a drinking challenge about this. As that is hard to believe, because members of GC, which includes Gage, are soulless and hateful people with no intelligence or respect for life. Zach, like Gage, is just jealous that I am more successful than they are, and their hateful words don't bring me down. It kind of sounds like they do, because you publish 6 volumes essentially bitching and moaning when people start pointing out that you sound like a fucking lunatic. Yeah, you know when you sound like a complete raving fucking lunatic, screeching at the top of your goddamn lungs when people tell you in no uncertain terms to shut the fuck up? Yeah, it's not bringing you down when you make 6 volumes of Asshurt, the song of Asshurt, the half album of Asshurt. But remember, it's not bringing him down, despite the fact that he has these borderline suicidal episodes. In a world that's not conservative, Zach bullying would have been shut down years ago. Curse you, Donald Trump! Curse you, Donald Trump! You realize that even if Trump wasn't president, even if Hillary had won, there wouldn't be bullshit laws that stop people from calling you a dumbass online. Because preventing someone from saying mean things to you is the exact opposite of free speech. Because when you start censoring what people say just because a few people get their boxers in a wad, it kind of shows that it's not really free speech at that point. When people are actually arbitrarily policing people based upon what they're saying, but not why they're saying it. And the United States doesn't have laws on hate speech. So even if Hillary Clinton did win, there's no guarantee you would get what you wanted out of it. Like, seriously, you're just basically screaming at the president because you're mad that you're not getting your way. Fuck off. By the way, don't be surprised if Fishboy tries to copyright this like the fascist he is. Quote Jennifer Ranilla. Well, it's true, though. I mean, you tend to do this type of shit. Whenever someone reads anything you wrote, you go above and beyond to copyright claim the ever-loving fuck out of it just to make sure that it goes down. And if it doesn't, you screech and and bitch to YouTube. They mean things about me. Well, it's fucking true. No one's lying about you. No one's bullshitting anyone. They're saying exactly what the fuck you've said. Verbatim. Jennifer is not his real name. Actually, Jennifer is her real name. She is transgender. And the fact that you disrespect the fact that she's transgender because she doesn't think the way you want her to kind of makes you look like the fucking bigot. As you see in a quote, she called an Asian person myself a fish. She called me ugly. It must be racist. Which is a racial slur against us Asians because clearly I am a human being, not a fish. Again, they call you that because your eyes are like on two opposite sides of your fucking head and you don't have huge fucking lips. The GC Tukul has been stealing copyrighted material from the Swan Media Group for months and have been exposed to the media. Conservatives will do anything to get attention and push their hateful agenda. Can't wait for Spencer to spam our comments. You mean spam our comments. Quote Cornelius, aka The Drift. Here's the thing. You do spam the comments. This isn't some bullshit people make up. When instead of just making one comment where you timestamp what you're responding to, you make hundreds of fucking comments when you watch something from start to finish. As I said, these conservatives are too busy being racist and hating people who are different than them. Not them, you fucking dumbass. Learn how to spell check your shit. They can't even get my name right! I'm not gonna call you some bullshit name you assume just because you decide that taking advantage of the transgender community to get away from criticism is not an argument. Yeah, we all just learned that, and it's best to just block him because he won't stop. And me, Amy Engage, and a few others. He really stopped having fun with it a while back because it's been 2 years of the same old song and dance. It straight up turned from haha look at this weirdo to I wouldn't mind hog tying and putting me on a feet first in a giant meat grinder, turning on the slowest capacity. Jennifer's comment in response to Cornelius. It took 2 years for the GC cult to realize I am too smart for them to brainwash. No, it's just the fact is that when people argue with you, you run them around in a circle to annoy the shit out of them to the point where they yell at you and they get frustrated with you because that's the only way you can win an argument. You don't win by stumping people and by debunking what they say or by rebuttaling what they say successfully. You argue because you don't know how the fuck to debate with anyone. You run people around in a circle because you can never admit that you don't know everything you claim to know. You talk down to everyone regardless of what the discussion's about, and if people talk to you about things that are outside of your understanding, you immediately just say, well, no, that's not relevant, I don't want to talk about it. When people actually try to talk to you about gun violence, for example, and the gun violence statistics, and how they're actually significantly lower than they have been in the last 30 years, you go above and beyond to try to swipe it away and, well, see, no, don't look at that, no, don't look at that, it's all fake news, bullshit, read. And that's really all you do. You don't really say shit that's actually worth listening to. Ergo, people don't feel the need to deal with you. You can see how, quote, Jennifer, there's no reason to quote it, just Jennifer. just admitted that the GC2 cult stopped having fun with it. It is referring to the harassment, bullying, and attempted brainwashing. So Jennifer has admitted the fact that GC2, Damien, and did enjoy watching innocent people suffer and planned to continue their mayhem against humanity. Gage reviews expose how unintelligent he is. Nobody gets drunk from reading a book. No, but if you need to start drinking to lower your intelligence to the point to where what the person wrote makes sense, it kind of starts showing how low the IQ is that you're dealing with when it comes to reading that garbage. Gage is uneducated, so the non-service series is way beyond his comprehension to actually understand. Well, reading comprehension doesn't have to do with whether or not they agree with your political arguments. Your whole idea of a political argument means, well, if you don't agree with what I say, you don't understand what I'm saying. It's like, no, we fully understand. It's just the fact is that you're a fucking nut, and you're obsessed with the fact that you're the only one that's capable of thinking. You immediately denigrate people when they question the stupid shit you say because you yourself have this delusion that no matter what you say, no matter how little you know about the topic, your opinion is just automatically an irrefutable fact because you said it. So I completely ignore his empty rambling and continue to warn people about the real dangers of Gage and the DV2 cult. Gage needs to drink alcohol in order to feel smart, but it doesn't do anything. No, I need to drink because sometimes it's the best way to just relax after reading something so incredibly brain-dead and full of lies. So clearly the liberals and the LGBT community has the upper hand because they are the ones changing the world for the better, not conservatives like Gage who complains about reading a book, honestly, mostly because he's lazy and doesn't actually understand what he reads. So naturally he hates the books that I write because it exposes him for the bullying and cult-leading fool that Gage really is. No, it's just the fact that you go above and beyond to lie about people up and fucking down to the point to where your lies start to outnumber the shit that you say. I mean, fuck, you mentioned my legal name over 50 fucking times in the span of 5 chapters, and the reason that you're doing it, and I will maintain this, the reason that you're doing it is because you think that doxing me is going to get me to be afraid of you. You think doxing me and trying to dox drop me is going to make me fucking scared of you. That it's going to make a fucking lynch mob descend upon me to make me change my thoughts. Or to say, like, you want people to call the police on me over shit that I say about you. You want people to harass me in my day-to-day life because I call you an idiot. You want people to ridicule me and mock me and denigrate me for simply calling you a dumb fuck. And because nobody does, you need to throw a fucking tantrum and have meltdowns. Because you don't know what the fuck to do with yourself if people disagree with your point of view. That's really what it is. You can't stand it when anyone at all disagrees with you. So when people tell you in no uncertain terms to shut your fucking ass, all you do is wah, 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 and wah. You essentially have these little tantrums where you cry for 4 or 5 pages about the same thing, but don't prove anything you say. Children never existed, age never existed, and Gage is a cult leader who is jealous of myself and Amos Yee, because when Amos Yee's name is mentioned, he starts making these weird noises like he's taking a crap on the toilet, but he's constipated. You mean like he's constipated? No, the reason that I say that is because Amos Yee is completely irrelevant to the conversation and does not mean a fucking thing. You keep saying these things don't exist, but when it comes to actually arguing with it, you don't. You don't argue. You don't debate. You essentially sit there and don't budge. You essentially glue yourself to the fucking spot and say, nah, nothing you say is true. 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 And you essentially start having these like fucking meltdowns. Where instead of just saying, dude, that's not true, and like reasons like A, B, and C is why those things are patently untrue. Instead of that, it's like, nope, not true. Nope, not true. Fake news. Nope, not true. Nope, not true. Fake news. You're conservative. Nope, not true. Not true. Fake news. You're conservative. And that's really all you do. And it's because of that people don't argue with you. Because arguing with you is, at the end of the day, fruitless. It's pointless. Because trying to talk to a brick wall will only get you so far. The same noise used by Gage to mock the LGBTP plus community. No, I use it to mock pedophiles. Lesbians, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are not my concern. They've never been the problem. You keep making them the problem by inserting them into a topic that has nothing to do with them. That is why I support Amos Yee. Well, then the fact that you have like a really creepy fetish for Asian men. Because Amos, he is actually intelligent and nice. He has no need to be jealous. He's respectful, and he actually makes sense. He makes sense to you because you want to fuck him. That's the only argument here. The only thing that determines whether or not someone makes sense to you, as to the not making sense, is whether or not you find them sexually attractive. Let's face it. You have an unhealthy obsession with a complete stranger that knows nothing about you, that does not know who the fuck you are, that has heard of you only in passing, and has since basically denounced you as a fucking moron because you say a whole bunch of crazy shit during the time they did hear about you. Plus, he deserves so much better than Gage does. Why? Because you want to fuck this person? Amos actually takes care of himself and washes his face. Washes, and I do wash my face every day when I shower. Plus, Amos isn't lazy like Gage and actually has a real education. I respect Amos Yee, which has nothing to do with having sex with anyone, but because Amos Yee is not a bully or a cult leader, or evil racist conservatives like Gage is. Okay, so again, you're saying that because people criticize you and disagree with you and they denigrate you for being an idiot, you immediately need to typecast status to racist or evil. I thought you said there's no such thing as morals, and if morals don't exist, how can you define things or people as good or evil? That doesn't make any fucking sense. You say you don't judge people, but you're judging me right now, essentially typecasting me as some sort of internet fucking supervillain because I degrade your stupid bullshit writings. Right. Amos is liberal, unlike Gage, who's a conservative who hates the world. Amos, he is good for the country, not Gage. I always say what I mean. Gage is a bully and he doesn't care. That is what I mean. You call me a bully because I disagree with you, and you cry and screech and and bitch because you're not smart enough to understand that not everyone's going to agree with you, you simpering pussy. That is what I mean. It's so simple that a caveman could do it. Oh, are you really going to rip off a Geico advertisement tagline, you dumb fuck? Gage is the problem, and I encourage the human race to fight against him and his corrupted beliefs that he forces on humanity, which has nothing to do with sex. Actually, you straight up have statements where you condone sex with children, and you berate people when they disagree with you condoning sex with children. This is Gage, the Doom guy. As you can see, his skin is pale, he never dresses nice, or looks presentable. He hates humanity except conservatives. He lies and victimizes the innocent. He is jealous of myself and Amos Yee. He is racist and nobody should suffer him. Yeah, okay, so racist how? Because I call you ugly? Because you are ugly? Because your face looks hideously deformed? It wouldn't matter what race you were. You could be white, Asian, Hispanic. It wouldn't matter. Like, if you're ugly, I'm going to call you ugly, especially when your beliefs just prove how ugly you are on the inside as well as on the outside. I love how I'm not, my picture's not there. It's almost like my picture was taken out when you realized that I was going to be up your ass legally if you tried to include it, so fuck you. This is Amos Yee, an intelligent intellectual who speaks the truth that Gage is jealous of. Again, what is there to be jealous of? The dude's in jail right now. Notice how Amos looks presentable. His skin is clean, and he is not lazy. That's because Amos is walking around in public. I'm sitting at home. Amos Yee's shirt is clean, and unlike Gage, Amos can't actually read books and understand what he is reading. This is the perfect person to lead the world movement for positive change forward. Yeah, let the fucking child predator lead the world. It's not like it could ever end badly. Here's the thing, I'm not a world leader. I've never once pretended to be a world leader. If you're so fucking stupid and mind-fucked that you need to constantly make yourself the victim of every situation. There's Gage and Kate, and in the group photo, notice how Gage does not smile, because I have something in my teeth. Like the rest of the people around him. The end. The end! He didn't smile! See, he didn't smile! He didn't smile! He didn't smile! He must be bad because he didn't smile. What the fuck? What in the fuck? Okay, retard? Does it occur to you that not everyone is comfortable showing their teeth? Because my teeth are kind of bad. I go to the dentist and I brush them and floss and everything, but I'm still kind of insecure about my fucking teeth, so I don't smile. That's usually when I do smile, it's usually a grin or a smirk. It's never really like a full toothy fucking grin. Because I legitimately don't feel comfortable when I smile. because when I do, my mouth is too fucking wide and it makes me uncomfortable. And so I'd hate to see how other people feel about it because I don't know how other people would feel about it. Yeah, remember, guys, if you don't smile because you have an insecurity about your teeth, for example, it just means that you hate everyone and that you don't feel anything. Dude, you're essentially trying to take a mountain and you're essentially trying to take a molehill and make a mountain out of it. Like, see, he's not smiling. He's not smiling. He must be a sociopath. He's not smiling. He's not smiling. He must be a sociopath. Really? Dude, you're a fucking retarded lunatic. You really are. You're a crazy, delusional, fuckhead motherfucker whose only real argumentation is essentially, if this person doesn't think the way I want them to think, then they have to be evil. I mean, that's really all it is. Your entire argumentation revolves around typecasting everyone as a fucking supervillain. And if you don't get what you wanted in the end out of it, you have these stupid little fucking pseudo tantrums where you cry and bitch and malign on people and accomplish fucking nothing. I mean, that's really all you do. You go above and fucking beyond to keep attaching yourself to other people's personal lives or judging people because you believe you have the right to do so. There's a difference between simply having an opinion and disagreeing with what someone else says, but then there's doing what you do, where you try to type your opinion as a fact, and then you try to parade it around and throw it in people's fucking face whenever you personally decide to make everyone feel about things that you yourself have no right to make anyone feel bad about. I mean, really, your whole argumentation is that if people don't feel the same way you feel about a situation, then they have to be the one in the wrong. They have to be the one that's a liar, or a conservative, or a bully, or a racist, or a Nazi, or any other stupid fucking thing under the sun you think about calling people whenever you can't justify the shit that you do. I mean, that's the thing. You don't really give a shit about anything. You really don't. I mean, your entire argument is essentially, you don't agree with me, you don't like me, you have to be the problem and not me. And honestly, people don't have to fucking put up with that. They don't. And you keep trying to make people put up with it. You keep trying to tell people they're obligated to deal with you or allow you to, like, fucking take up space in their life when they're not. You do not have the right to try to take up space in someone else's fucking life just to degrade them and attack them because they criticize or scrutinize the stupid shit you say. You nor anybody else has the right to look at someone and talk shit about them just because you personally don't like what they say about you, even if what they say about you is actually fucking true. I may be a little bit blunt, and I'm willing to admit that I'm a bit brash in things, but when it comes to the shit you say about me and the stuff that you accuse me of being, those things couldn't be any further from the truth if the truth existed in an alternate fucking dimension. And you know that. You know for a fact that no one's gonna believe you. That's why you need to continuously make shit up. That's why you need to go above and beyond to try to make anyone that doesn't agree with you look like a liar or an asshole. Because in your mind, if you make someone look like a liar or an asshole, it takes away any sort of accountability from the shit that you do. I mean, that's really what it is. You're trying to make people feel ashamed for simply disagreeing with you by essentially saying that the disagreement makes them less of a person because they don't think the way you'd like them to think. And for someone that claims to be holier than thou, who claims that he's all about fairness and all about equality, you don't really seem to give a shit about equality. Your argument seems to be, if you don't agree with me, you're the asshole. If you don't see things my way, you're the bigot. If you don't do what I want you to do, you're the problem. Like, you're all these other things that you have no right at all to shit on anyone for. Because your whole argument is essentially that if someone doesn't agree with you, then they're not worthy to be considered a human being. I think you're a person, but I think you're a person who's, like, really great, like, very, like, pretty fucked in the head. I do. I think that there's something, like, phenomenally fucking wrong with you. And for some reason, instead of just simply fucking off when people request to be left alone, you need to continuously drag yourself into other people's lives when no one at all has asked you to be involved. I mean, that's the thing. You keep trying to make yourself look like everyone else just needs to do what you ask them to or listen to you, but the truth be told, no one does. That's the issue here. Is the fact that you keep trying to drag other people into your shit so that they feel guilty for not agreeing with you. And no one has to do that. No one is obligated to do that. And you have no right to degrade people or denigrate them just because they question the shit that you say. And before you say, well, you're denigrating me right now, and I'm questioning what you say, well, here's the difference. When people actually question what you say, they're actually asking questions. They're actually criticizing you because the argumentation you use doesn't make any fucking sense. When you talk about what other people say, you don't debunk what they say. You don't debate it. You don't actually try to beat it in argumentation by presenting where the argument could fail. Instead, you're more worried about screeching at people like a fucking retard, arguing about what they say, while at the same time not really doing jack shit to really tell whether or not what they're saying is actually fucking true. I mean, that's the thing. You keep going above and beyond to make people feel ashamed for not agreeing with you. But all it does is prove to the people talking about you or the people disagreeing with you that you're the problem. I mean, you're the person who goes above and beyond to keep antagonizing people. And when people tell them in no uncertain terms to shut the fuck up and stop bothering them, you do it over and over again because for whatever reason you need to attach yourself to other people just to feel like you're doing something with your time. I mean, there's a reason people don't like you very well. It's not because of some bullshit, well, yeah, liberal, so I don't like you. No, it's just because you're a legitimately shit person and no one wants to be around that and no one has to be around that. I mean, you go above and beyond to instigate all this stupid shit with people, but the issue here is that you're trying to make people feel ashamed on the basis that they don't agree with you alone or because they have different opinions. And the weirdest part is even people that identify as liberal call you crazy and call you stupid and simply point out the fact that a lot of your arguments are fallacious or insane. But when it comes to that criticism and that disagreement, you won't take any of that. You can't tolerate it. It's like someone disagreeing with you causes you to have a fucking episode because you know for a fact that you're wrong deep down too. And honestly, I wish nothing but the worst upon you.